Got to be there. All people stepping the steering party. Yes. One time aside. Where they got Musa Baruka? Lord, they must be there. Musa Baruka. Over. Yes. Give thanks. Yeah, I got original. Give thanks. The original. What we feeling good out there on this marvelous Garvey celebration day? Rise until your sun today. He who fights the wrong way.
sure you get a copy of it. No, we come to have so much fun. I'm like, hey man, I got a flight ticket. We should have texted them. We got like last call. Okay. Oh man, yeah, I'm so definitely. Oh, I got one more about it. Yeah. Well, give me a blank number.
solidarity statements to us and recognition of Marcus Garvey Day. We also have a poet who will be coming on next. This brother, I asked him, I said, is there anything special you want me to say about you? How long you been writing poetry and all this? He said, well, I've been writing poetry a long time. Just introduce me as simply a poet. And I bring to you now Brother Tariq Nia, who will share with us some of his poetry. Brother Tariq Nia.
And how y'all Africans doing today? I'm going to do a couple of poems here. The first one is entitled Hungry Man. Hungry men in the food line. Hungry men in the food line. The blue-eyed, blonde-haired black girls be walking with the cool cat home and his Jerry curl. By big shots, bubbies, and big cars. Hungry men in the food line. A neo-Negro politician talking about black crack in the crime zone. Detention and retention, he doesn't even mention. Hungry men in the food line. A brave preacher prays for a brighter day. Her congregation asks the Lord for higher pay. Their meditation, not a single prayer to pray. For hungry men in the food line. You say you want to help, but nobody wants to give. The time, the dime, the mind to find a better way to live. You only see them in poverty's museum. Hungry men in the food line. Hungry men in the food line. Hungry men in the food line. A baby took a bullet from a pop gun. In the middle when the crook from the cop run. Till the doctor said, look, that's your son. He took a bullet from the barrel of a cop gun. There's some colored boys dancing at the White House. They painted with a black face, white mouth. And if the president wanna have a good shout, Judge Tom sang a song about the old South. And the blue-eyed, blonde-haired black girls be walking with the two-cat comb and his Jerry curl. By big shots, bubbies, and big cars. And hungry men in the food line. 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 And this next piece is entitled Ode to Marcus Garvey. When Marcus Garvey said, one God, one aim, one destiny, he heard black people's voice and proclaimed our people's choice. Build strength in Pan-African unity. His United Negro Improvement Association and the Black Star Line Steamship Corporation, 10 million Africans strong, joined hands across the Atlantic, diaspora, and African home. From America to Ghana, South Africa to Brazil, from Panama and Cuba, Marcus Garvey built. His spirit in my conscience, I hear his message still. Up, you mighty people, you can accomplish what you will. Black pride in Black Cross Nurses Corps, Black boarding homes and grocery stores, Black Star Line vessels sailed across the sea. And when the Frederick Douglass sailed, Garvey to her captain yelled, "Raise high your flag of red, black, and green." At Liberty Hall when Garvey taught, the sons and daughters of Africa sought reunion with their African history. You've got to understand your past to understand yourself and understand the pressing need to conquer African destiny. But Uncle Tom's came dressed in black to place themselves at Garvey's back. And Europe's colonial masters feared the African conscience Garvey reared. America, in her racist prime, undermined the African climb. So one day U.S. Marshals came, the Honorable Garvey, jailed and chained, arrested him, and refused to set his bail. The courtroom farce a federal frame when the prosecutors claimed Marcus Garvey theft by U.S. mail. Jim Crow sat on the judge's bench, a smirk across his face. At last he put that African nigger Garvey in his place. Garvey standing no more, look in Jim Crow's face. When I am dead, wrap the mantle of the red, black, and green around me. For in the next life, with the grace of God, I shall rise to lead millions of Africans to the heights of triumph. And Jim Crow cursed and read the verdict in that racist case. For preaching African unity and defrauding U.S. mail, 5 years for Marcus Garvey in Atlanta's federal jail. Said Garvey, I will uplift my people until my final breath is gone. Africa for Africans abroad and at home. While Garvey was in prison, some Negroes who had risen to leadership within the UNIA, self-seeking and unconscious like Negroes are today, with Garvey in the dungeon, sold out the UNIA. But Amy Garvey was unfettered, and when it seemed injustice won, tireless were her efforts to have their wrongs undone. From Harlem to Havana to Washington, D.C., there rose a mighty clamor, set Marcus Garvey free. So the president president relented, and his sentence was aborted. But his truth was so resented, Garvey was deported. So Garvey went home to Jamaica by British colonial fear, for as he sailed into the harbor, 10,000 Africans cheered. The next day, he started to rebuild, not being one to look back. Effort he would never see yield, for too soon the British attacked. Police harassment, political schemes, and legal farce were Britain's means. In June of 1940, the Honorable Marcus Garvey returned to his creator. But his spirit, wrapped in the mantle of the red, black, and green, remains alive in the African conscience. Elijah Muhammad, Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, Sekou Touré, Bob Marley, Malcolm X, Henry Clark, Louis Farrakhan, Kwame Ture, and millions of Africans around the world still building strength in Pan-African unity. Up, you mighty people! You can accomplish what you will! Thank you.
All right. We thank Brother Tariq for those inspiring words, for that history in poetry form. As I said earlier, poetry always seems to inspire us, and I'm sure a lot of you were inspired by that poetry. You see the little sister here listening? That's a sign that it's going through. It's going on, continue to the next generation, so we pass the revolution on to the next generation. Thank you so much, brother. Now, I'm going to take care of a little business here. We had plans to have an ad book for the Marcus Garvey Day. That's something that we usually do. We had a big problem, trying to get it together, but we're going to have that ad book out next week, and we're going to have it in all of the black, not all of them, but the ones who advertise. We're going to have the ad booklets available within your business, and we're going to be passing those ad booklets out because we want you all to support black businesses. They supported us by buying an ad in our ad booklet for Marcus Garvey Day. We had some problems getting it out today, but it's going to be out next week, so don't worry. And I want to mention those advertisers who paid for their ads, okay? There we go. There was a brother who was an attorney. His name is Melvin Burrows. The Culture House, Infinity Tours, we thank you. Imani. The All African Women's Revolutionary Union, we thank you for your ad. Maya's Beauty Salon, Cultural Plus, Kadar, the sculptor who is a barber, we thank you for your ad. And there were many more. I'm just working from a partial list. But we thank you for your support. Let's give them all a hand. All right, with that, we're going to continue on our program. Let me kind of give you an idea of what we have left on Marcus Garvey. And his name is Matuma Osedi. Matuma?
Brothers and sisters, on behalf of the New African People's Organization, it's my pleasure to greet you in the spirit of Black August resistance. Free the land! Yes, brothers and sisters, it is indeed an honor to be among you today as we celebrate the life and legacy of the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Now, as we celebrate the legacy and life of Marcus Garvey, let it be perfectly clear to us the reasons why we celebrate this life and legacy. Let us know in our hearts and minds that it is the spirit of Garvey that will sustain us. It is in the tradition of Garvey that we must choose to negotiate the affairs of our lives. For Garvey was a keeper of the spirit of resistance. And that spirit has been passed on through untold generations. For just as that spirit quickened Marcus Garvey, so had it quickened Sister Harriet Tubman. So did it quicken Sister Sojourner Truth. So did it quicken Brother Nat Turner. So did it quicken Brother Denmark Vesey. But we want to concentrate on Garvey today. Now, when I think about Garvey, the thing that comes foremost in my mind is the farewell address that Garvey wrote as he was being railroaded into the Atlanta Federal Pen. Now, I'm sure many of you brothers and sisters know how Garvey was railroaded into the pen. Much the same way as many brothers and sisters are railroaded into these federal dungeons today. But what Garvey said that stands out in my mind, and I paraphrase, he said, if I die in Atlanta, he said, it is then when my work will truly begin. He said, but I shall not die. He said, I did not leave you in life, so shall I not in death. He said, I will come to you in the earthquake. He said, I will come to you in the cyclone. He said, I will come to you in the storm. Now, brothers and sisters, we need to begin to recognize Garvey when we see him. And we need to begin to pay attention to the spirit of resistance. Garvey was a wonderful custodian of this spirit, but he has now passed this spirit on for us to keep alive. Now, I think that Garvey wanted us to grow the spirit, to build the spirit, and to intensify the storm. Now let's talk about the storm for a minute. You see, in order for any storm to be taken seriously, it has to have a whole lot of thunder. It has to have sharp lightning. It has to have strong winds and driving rains. Now, the elements of our storm are right here. That's right, you and me, brothers and sisters. Now, let's be clear about that, though, because everybody cannot be the lightning. Everybody cannot be the thunder. The fact of the matter is, a lot of our people are scared of thunder and lightning. But we know that these things are necessary, and we're responsible to be the elements that we can be in order to bring about the storm that is necessary for our liberation. So in order for us to achieve total liberation, each and every one of us has to listen to that spirit of resistance and revolution that burns deep within. Yes, my people, I think that our people generally want revolution. But I'd be the first to tell you that we're not always found in agreement about what this actually means or how this is to occur. But I think I can be sure that we all can agree that we want to end the genocide. We have to pay attention to that spirit of resistance, brothers and sisters. And as we work for the total liberation of our nation, let us ask ourselves, do we have the moral authority to call for liberation? Are all of the peoples of our nation liberated? Do we have work to do within? I think we do. As long as we have and we allow sexist oppression, as long as we have political prisoners and prisoners of war amongst our nationals, I think we have to ask these questions and we have to work towards solutions to these problems. Now, if we are worthy to talk about the life and legacy of Marcus Garvey, then we are responsible for personal work towards our national liberation. Now, when many people think of Marcus Garvey, they think immediately about his statement, "Back to Africa," his statement of Africa for the Africans. These are very real statements, very powerful statements, and they remain relevant today. I would submit that few people know, however, that Marcus Garvey also said that there are many sons and daughters of Africa that will do it right here that will achieve African liberation in what is now the United States and the Caribbean. Marcus Garvey said this. And I would submit that anywhere on this planet that there is an African nation or African people, that African nation and that African people needs to be liberated. That is the only way that true, lasting, meaningful African liberation can be had anywhere in the world. There are places on this planet right now where African-centered being and African-centered thought is neither the norm nor is it respected, even on the continent of Africa in some cases. So we have to work to liberate Africa wherever we are. We have to achieve worldwide liberation. Now, I also want to take time out today, brothers and sisters, to give thanks for the many committed brothers and sisters that committed their lives to this question of African liberation. Brothers like Dr. Matulu Shakur, brothers like Brother Sekou Odinga, sisters like Assata Shakur, brothers like Brother Kwame Ture, people like Queen Mother Moore. I also want to give thanks to the many, many of our people who gave up their lives in this struggle for African liberation, especially those precious and brave souls that chose to make their homes amongst the stars and in the depths of the seas during the Holocaust so that you and I could be here today. I give thanks. I also give thanks to the names we know well of the lives that have been given up for African independence. Brothers like Brother El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, brothers like Fred Hampton, brothers like Brothers George and Jonathan Jackson, and the list goes on and on and on, and for this I give thanks. As I close, I'd like to encourage us by simply saying, Pamoja tutashinda. And what that means is, together we will win. Because it's not always about changing somebody else's mind. It's not always about laying claim to the only real and right ideas and methodologies about achieving liberation. But what is real is we have the common yoke of oppression. And we must struggle against this. It is always about unity. And it is always about total African liberation. Again, in the spirit of Black August resistance, I greet you. Free the land!
Yes, free the land. All right. The next speaker we have coming up is a sister. Her name is Sister Zoreda, and she will be talking about the Students for African American Empowerment. And when I asked her, what do you all do? She said, well, for one thing, we're not really students. It's mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and community people working together to provide self-defense training, political education sessions, neighborhood liberation drives, a liberation newspaper, and just all community work that needs to be done in our community. So I bring to you Sister Zoreda of the SAY. That's the short name for it, SAY, Students for All African Empowerment. Sister Zoreda, please come.
First of all, giving all honors and praise to the Most High. One question. Is this Marcus Garvey Day? Are we celebrating Marcus Garvey Day here in the park? One more question, but one more thing I would like for you to do for me. All Africans stand up. All Africans stand up. That's right, you heard me. One more time, all Africans stand up. That's what I thought. Today, we're here celebrating Marcus Garvey's birthday. We're here talking about Pan-Africanism, talking about revolution, talking about resurrection. And I had a speech prepared for today, but I left that speech behind because I'm tired of making brother. First of all, let me also just tell you I'm representing Save Food for All African Empowerment. The sister gave a brief rundown of who we are. But real briefly, Marcus Garvey, aim, one God, one aim, one destiny. I don't know, I was pondering and meditating on that earlier. We, as a people, I know you've heard this before, we're not unified. And we say to ourselves, how are we going to become unified? Okay? First of all, we need to check our surroundings. We need to check and see why are we still in an oppressive state that we've been in for such a long time. Once you ask yourself that question, I'm quite sure if you are honest with yourself, you cannot sit back down after I leave the stage and go home and do nothing. Because if you are an African and you stood up when I asked Africans to stand up, you know that we are in a turmoil. Turmoil. I don't have to go through the statistics as far as genocide is concerned. We have like over 1 million black people in prison in this country. Not limiting everything to this country, but talking about right here, where we at, where we're standing. We have drugs in our community. We have poison food in our grocery stores. We have our kids just doing what they want to do. No one taking responsibility for them. We have our children's breakfast table. We have a number of programs going on. I just want to bring forth to you today on this Marcus Garvey Day to let you know that it's going to take us to liberate us. It's going to take us to get the change, to make the change. One God, one aim, one destiny. That's a revolutionary statement. One God meaning that we need to come together spiritually and leave all this diversification behind. One aim, our aim is liberation. One destiny of living harmoniously, being self-determined and self-reliant, as Brother Marcus Garvey would have taught us. Before I leave you today, that's just a little, I just come here, I'm speaking here from my heart here. Because, you know, as we leave here, I really want you sincerely to do something. You know the things that's going on in the community. You know the things that's going on with people. Are we going to keep coming out here year after year, marking Garvey Day in Moulton Park? First of all, this is the first time I've seen so many people out here. The park should be full, honoring a brother like Marcus Garvey. You know what I'm saying? So I want to leave you with the real revolutionary words of all power to the people. I need for you to repeat that, because if you can't repeat that, you shouldn't be here celebrating Marcus Garvey Day. Marcus Garvey was about self-reliance, self-determination. And it's not until you believe it within yourself that we're going to move together to have self-determination to control our own destiny. One God, one aim, one destiny. All power to the people. Resurrection. Revolution. Resurrection. Revolution. All power to the people. Give thanks, brothers and sisters.
All right, we heating on up here. I hear the drumming in the background, and people are anxious, and they're sitting all around, and we're getting ready. Now we're going to hear from the All-African People's Revolutionary Party, our representative to speak to us today, Brother Yambu. And after that, you will hear from, who are we here for to see and to hear? Muta Baruka. But I bring to you now Brother Yambu. Let's give him a hand.
We would like to welcome you again to the 4th annual Marcus Garvey Day anniversary celebration and commemoration. Today we come to bring honor to this great African warrior in the UNIA and the African Community League. We would like to thank you Africans for coming to attend this 4th anniversary of this great day given to the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. Today, we want to concentrate here on this great vision that this great African warrior had. This great vision of seeking power. This great vision of understanding the need for power. Power is what we need as a people. Garvey said, the best way that we as a people can gain power is through organization. He said he knows no greater method than organizing. Say he knows no greater method than organizing. Garvey had this perception of power. This perception grew into a condition that all our people throughout the world understood the necessity that we must gain power. We said that the UNIA had over 40 chapters throughout the world. We say within these 40 chapters throughout the world, we had Africans who have perceived the perception of gaining power. We need power. How do we go and get this power? We said first, and when I say we, the All African People's Revolutionary Party, said we must become politically educated. We said Garvey was a movement. The UNIA was a movement. We said today we must have a party. We said we must have a political party. We said we must have a mass party. We said this party must be a revolutionary party. We said this party must be concerned about the masses of our people gaining power. We must understand the perception of power. We say we jump up at any time and mass movement and revolt and move. That is good. But we need this perception of power. We need this perception of power. In order to gain this perception of power, we must think collectively. We must think collectively. We must move collectively. We must organize on a mass collective base in order to gain power. We say that organizations throughout the world today have never been able at this time to bring forth some of the great advancement of the UNIA, like the Black Star Line, which Africa has several ships sailing the ocean front. And we know Kwame Nkrumah, first president of Ghana, first thing he did when he became president of Ghana is change the name of the ship line to the Black Star Line, and it still sails the ocean front today, all the way from West Africa, from Ghana, all the way to Savannah, Georgia today. Yes, those are things that we as the African people have gave to ourselves with this perception of power. We say, if our people do not understand this necessity for the perception of power, then we will always think as a slave. Say we will always think as a slave. That's why it's important for us Africans to study our history, to know our history, to know that we was a free and proud and wonderful and beautiful people, and that Africa gave so much to world civilization. Africa gave so much to world civilization. It's only our people in power can do this. It's only our people in power can do this. We need this perception of power. We need our people to understand that we need power. And the best way to gain this power is through organization. So our party come here today to plead to our people, to beg our people to come join and work with the All African People Revolutionary Party. We ask you to come and help organize the masses of our people scattered throughout the world so we can duplicate this great movement of Marcus Messiah Garvey in the UNIA in the African Community League. We're not Africans who will sit down and continue to let others control our life, control our land, control our resources while we lack power, because we cannot gain this perception of power. We cannot gain this vision of power. We need power. We need organization. We said, if you will not come and join the All African People Revolutionary Party, then join some other organization working and struggling and fighting and dying for your people. We said, if you can't find no organization that will suit you, then start an organization working and fighting and struggling for the masses of our people. It's only when our people will join organizations that we will come to understand fully the problem that we as a people have and we suffer upon them. We still suffer from the lack of identity. Yes, we still suffer from the lack of identity. We are an African people. Garvey said, Africa for the Africans at home and the Africans abroad. It's clear who we are. We come here today to honor this great African warrior and the UNIA and all the struggling masses of the UNIA. And we said,